Welcome to the Dream Power Show. I'm your host, Debbie Spector Weissman, the Dream Coach. March 1st was International Women's Day, where the focus was on celebrating the accomplishments of women worldwide. It was also a day to recognize that the work isn't done, that there are many issues that remain that keep women all over the world from achieving their full potential. One woman who has dedicated her life to helping women break through both business and personal barriers is my guest. For the past 20 years, Marsh Engle has led live events, wrote books, and coached thousands of women into creating purposeful lives, who have in turn spurred others on to achieve their own successes. In celebration of her 20th anniversary, Marsh has come out with a new book as part of her Amazing Women Legacy series. It's called Amazing Women, It's Your Time to Emerge. And full disclosure, I'm honored to be one of the contributing authors to this powerful narrative. And with that, welcome to the Dream Power Show, Marsh.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you. And I love the introduction. It inspired me hearing you speak about full disclosure. You're part of this powerful new book.
Well, I'm all about honesty. So, if I bring somebody on to talk about their book, I have to say, hey, you know what? I'm in it too. And I'm proud of it. I mean, I think it's a
And what
wonderful.
yes, amazing contribution you made.
But I want to start off, Marsh, with just saying you've been at this for a long time. And when you first started, did you think that 20 years later, your work would have all been done?
I had no idea, honestly. I'd like to tell you that in 1999, my mom passed away. My mom died suddenly, unexpectedly on January 15th, 1999. And that was awakening for me, that I realized that the way life had been, the structure that I'd given my work, the focus of my contribution as an entertainment marketer for television and film, a great career, but not my calling. And I found that when my mom passed, there was something really urging me forward. It was urging me to search for the amazing woman. And of course, the amazing woman I was searching for was the amazing woman within myself. So, in all honesty, when I started this vision, this dream downloaded into me, this vision, I caught this vision, this idea of insight to search for the amazing woman. The woman I was really searching for was myself. And little did I know that 20 years later, it would have grown into a movement.
You mentioned the word mission, and getting back to that, I know one of your missions is to guide women into being legacy makers. What do you mean by that?
I believe that every single one of us, there's none of us that have been overlooked. We all have a voice that can make a massive contribution and difference in the world. That can be everything from motherhood, teacher, well being expert, coach, a mentor. It can be a creator that designs businesses and works within the corporate environment. It can be a woman who is using her voice to empower, publish products, and put women's voices, which is one of my passions, to put women's voices into the media. It can be all different ways, all different definitions of a legacy. But what's important is that we understand a legacy is, how are we taking action? How are we visioning ourselves? What is the image that we hold of ourselves? And how do we put that image into an evolving purpose so that we're constantly ever more making a difference, making a contribution, leaving our footprint in the world, so that ultimately the legacy that we're leaving is creating what I believe to be an ever evolving atmosphere and environment for our next generation of amazing women, maybe our next multi generations of amazing women.
Uh-huh. So, what is the first step that a woman has to take on the way to becoming a legacy maker?
A legacy maker is to really understand who you are and what you stand for. But, the pandemic brought into my awareness more than ever before that oftentimes we have an evolving purpose. And what I mean by evolving purpose is we start to redefine who we are. We start to evolve and create a new self image about ourselves. We start to see that maybe there's possibilities that are yet untapped. Maybe there are interests that I've had that I've set aside, and now's the time they're being called up. So the first step is that we have to make an agreement with ourselves to allow that growing beyond the defined, to allow that evolving purpose to move through us, to allow ourselves to look at the way we've defined ourselves. And maybe we've defined ourselves in a perfect way for what we've been up to in the world. But now it's time to take a look at that self-image and see, is there more of us that's wishing to be expressed? So the first step of a legacy maker is to allow herself to let go of the way things have been and let herself see and lean into the way things can become. So I think that legacy making sounds like a big monumental experience of creating. I believe I'd like to define legacy making as me being the best that I can be so that I'm reflecting to you the best that you can be. And I think together we link arms and we lift each other so that together we're creating a legacy that is an evolving, purposeful, inspired, infused with energy and inspiration future that we're creating for ourselves and we're creating for one another.
Yeah, that all sounds wonderful, and it's a what magical goal to achieve. But too often, I think we find people we see, their friends or business associates, that just fail to achieve their goals. And I think the word that comes up for the reason for that is that four-letter word fear. If you could speak to that and
Mhm,
talk about how women can get beyond that so that they
mhm.
can achieve what they're meant to be.
Well, I was meditating just last week and I brought this into one of the courses that I teach, and that fear is really designed to breed more fear within us. So that if fear gets a hold of us, what it's really, it's pure intention. The pure intention of fear is to create more fear within us. So I think that by getting a hold of an understanding that fear is an energetic quality that's designed to hold us back, or designed to keep us safe, or designed to keep us little or small, or designed to soften or mute our voices. And within ourselves, we've somewhere made an agreement that that's the way to go. And we have to get really honest with ourselves. One of the things that I believe diminishes fear faster than anything is a strong, very strong spiritual practice. And especially today with the environment that we're living in, it's absolutely going to be normal that fear is going to come into our awareness, that we're going to encounter fear. And then we're going to start to take that on personally, and we're going to start to make it our fear. And then I have a fear of is what's going to be, or I am fearful. We're going to start to speak fear into our own definitions of our future. So what we have to do is anchor ourselves. And what I found, especially during the pandemic, is a spiritual practice that brings us more into an embodiment of the truth and the power of who we are. And that's really something that's between you and you. We can look to others to empower us. We can look to others to keep us grounded and anchored. We can look to others to believe in us. But I believe that if there's anything that's going to mute fear faster than anything, it would be to have a strong spiritual practice so that we can begin to embody our creativity. We can embody the essence of who we are. We can begin to walk out into the world and become fortified in the strength of our creativity. And a spiritual practice, I can name some of the ways that I use spiritual practice. First of all, I surround myself with motivational speaking and inspirational talks. I listen. I have high vibration music going. Sounds woo woo, but it works because it's proven that sacred sound can raise the vibration of the body, which then raises our ability to lift up above anything that might be wanting to diminish our power. Breath work is incredibly powerful. There's lots of different forms of breath work that we can do, but breath work brings us into our body. There's all kinds of different types of meditations that we can do. Journaling is an incredibly powerful. Again, it sounds very simplified, but the truth is that when fear comes up, if you express what it is, what it's saying to you, what it's here to communicate to you, you may be surprised at what the fear is actually telling you. It may be urging you forward. It may be urging you to be a trailblazer or a pioneer in this way. And, I could go on because I believe that we as women today are being called to create new agreements within ourselves where we do step out as trailblazers. We do step out as pioneers. So those friends of yours that maybe are having challenges meeting their goals, or maybe even yourself, it could be that the way you've defined a goal is actually not the essential goal that you're being called to. It could be that there's something even greater that's wishing you to be brought forth through you. And that could be trailblazing a new message. That could be trailblazing a new idea. I'm back 20 years ago when Amazing Woman's Day became a movement early on in 2021, and we started bringing women together in 10 U.S. cities the first year, 50 U.S. cities the second year, and before we knew it, it was a movement. That was a very different approach, and I'm going to tell you, Debbie, I felt incredibly uncomfortable at times doing interviews because it was such an evolving understanding for many women, and it was an evolving understanding for me as well. So I had to go with understanding in new ways. I had to let go of who I thought I was, which was behind the camera, creating promotional marketing for television and film, working with entertainment clients. I had a completely different definition. Who was I to speak my truth? And actually, somebody asked me the other day, which I thought was a great question, and somebody watching this right now may be asking themselves, is that what qualifies you? I'm going to almost laugh when I say this, is what qualifies you to do the work that you do? What qualifies you to be an inspiration, a visionary for the success or the leadership of women? And I immediately, became kind of reactive. Sadly, I will say, and I started naming the books that I'd written, or the awards or whatever, and those really didn't matter. And I paused for a moment and I said, the truth is, what any one of us isn't qualified to inspire another person to step up into their power. Is there any of us that has been overlooked when it comes to saying to another, I see you as a legacy leader. I see you as a voice of empowerment. I see you as a woman who can accomplish her goals. I see you as a woman who can walk through any level of fear and make friends with it and keep walking forward. So the answer is, what qualifies me to do the work that I do, or what qualifies any of us, is that we're all qualified. If we feel the calling and we can reach out to lift another, that's what we're all here to do. And especially right now in this moment.
I think that is such a powerful thing to say, because certainly it's in anybody can do it. You don't need a zillion degrees, and years and years and years and years of accomplishment. What you do need is a caring heart, and the desire to want to help. And it could, because it could go, when it goes down to the one-on-one level, it's just as simple as listening to somebody, hearing what they have to say, and through that, helping them realize what they have inside them that maybe they didn't even realize they had before. And it doesn't take more than just listening and being a caring person to do it.
I believe it was Maya Angelou and Oprah Winfrey that there's a quote that I'm going to paraphrase, but it's something like, creating a legacy is created through your day-to-day interactions. And last night the words came to me just before I went to sleep, was that right now in this moment, someone's noticing the difference that you're making in their life. And I think that I wasn't saying that to myself. I might have been saying that to myself, but I might have been saying it to you. I might have been saying it to all the women in the book that is coming out in just a couple weeks. I might have been saying that to anyone that's listening to this interview right now. Is that be aware, be conscious, be alert. That right now, the way you're defining yourself, the way you're taking actions, the inspiration you're sharing, the words you're speaking to anyone at any time is your legacy. And that's what the way, if we begin to look at that, can you imagine the difference that we can make in the way we inspire each other and lift each other just simply by knowing that right now someone is noticing the difference that you're making in their life?
Is how can people find out about the book and find out about you and your services?
Oh, thank you for asking. You can go to Amazing Woman Nation, amazingwomannation.com. Easy to find us there. And you'll find all the information about the book. You'll find information about programs that we're offering, including our Destiny Writing Program, which is a signature program that is incredible in helping us to find our calling and stay true to our missions. But also marshengle.com. Marshengle.com is another website that is dedicated more to me specifically. But the Amazing Woman Nation is where you're going to get all the information about how you can take part, buy the book, be part of all of our celebrations.
We've been speaking with women's empowerment mentor Marsh Engle.